Every night at 2 a.m. my walls trembled from the deafening music next door. When I politely asked them to turn it down, they laughed, "Maybe move if you can't handle it." I recorded everything, and when the police finally listened, they showed up with something that silenced them forever. I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment in Jacksonville, Florida. Not fancy, but clean, quiet, and it fit my budget. I moved in after a rough divorce, needing peace and space. For the first 6 months, everything was calm. I worked during the day, watched TV at night, and slept like a rock. It felt like a fresh start. Then the apartment next to mine got new tenants. At first, it was small stuff. A few heavy footsteps, muffled voices, nothing unusual. But then, about a week in, the music started. It wasn't during the day or early evening. No, it always began at exactly 2 a.m. Every single night. And I'm not talking about a little background music. I mean bass so deep it shook the pictures on my wall. My ceiling fan would rattle. Glasses in my kitchen cabinets would vibrate. My bed actually moved a little. Imagine trying to sleep while your whole apartment is rumbling like a club. I knocked on the wall. Nothing. I texted the number on the lease office bulletin for neighbor complaints. No reply. After the third night, I decided to talk to them directly. I knocked on their door at around 10 p.m. that night. A tall guy opened it. Maybe early 30s. Backwards cap, beer in hand. The smell of weed and cologne hit me like a wave. "Hey man, I'm your neighbor next door. I just wanted to ask if you could maybe keep the music down after midnight? It's been really loud lately and I work early." He looked me up and down. Didn't smile. Just kinda leaned against the door frame. Then he said, "Maybe move if you can't handle it." And he shut the door. Didn't slam it. Just closed it like I didn't matter. I stood there like an idiot. I wasn't trying to fight. I just wanted to sleep. That night, the music started at 2 a.m. again. Louder. Like they were making a point. I gave it a few more days. I thought maybe it was a party phase. Maybe they'd calm down. But it just got worse. Now it wasn't just music. It was yelling. Random screaming. Doors slamming. Some nights I heard what sounded like furniture being thrown. So I went to management. They gave me a polite, "We'll look into it," and told me I wasn't the only one who'd complained. That was all. Nothing changed. I called the police. The first time, they came, knocked on the door, talked to the tenants, and left. The music stopped for 10 minutes. Then it was back, full volume. I called again. Same routine. Cops came. Music paused. Cops left. Music resumed. This cycle happened 4 times over the next few weeks. I started sleeping at my brother's place twice a week just to get a full night's sleep. I was exhausted. My work started to slip. My boss asked if I was okay. I looked like hell. I felt worse. The worst part? They knew they were doing it. Sometimes, I'd hear them laugh through the wall after a police visit. One time, the guy shouted, "Turn it up. That old man can call the cops all he wants." For the record, I'm 42. Not exactly ancient. So I got serious. I bought a cheap security cam and placed it by the shared wall, pointing at a digital decibel meter I picked up online. I synced the cam with the time and date. Every night at 2 a.m., that meter spiked so hard it maxed out. I recorded the noise too. Kept a log. Time. Date. How long the music lasted. When the police came. What they did. What happened after. It became my nightly routine. Wake up at 2 a.m., hit record, wait for it to end. Then one night, things escalated. Around 2:45 a.m., I heard banging. Not music this time, just loud, violent banging. Then what sounded like glass breaking. Then yelling. A woman screamed. Not like party screaming. Real panic screaming. I called the cops again. Told them it wasn't about music this time. I thought someone might be hurt. This time, 5 minutes later, 3 squad cars showed up. But that's where I'll pause. Because what happened next changed everything. So when the 3 squad cars pulled in, I knew this night wasn't going to end like the others. Blue and red lights flashed through my blinds. I peeked out. 2 officers ran up the stairs to their door. One stood at the bottom, hand resting on his holster, watching the hallway like he was expecting trouble. Then came the pounding. "Jacksonville police. Open up." No answer. More pounding. Still no answer. I was frozen by my door, heart racing. I could hear footsteps inside their apartment. Heavy and fast. Like someone was pacing or panicking. Then a loud crash. Sounded like something big tipped over. The cops didn't wait. One yelled, "Move!" and two of them kicked the door in. They went inside. I couldn't see what was going on, but I could hear everything. Shouting, screaming. One officer yelling commands, "Get on the ground. Show me your hands." Then more crashing like a table being flipped. Then silence. Dead silence. I stood there holding my breath. A minute passed. Then two. Then I heard something that made my skin crawl. One officer said, "We've got a situation. Call for backup. And get CSU." CSU? That's Crime Scene Unit. I knew that from TV. A few minutes later, more cops showed up. They started taping off the stairwell. One officer knocked on my door. "Sir, we'll need you to stay inside for now. Do you live next door?" "Yeah. I'm the one who called." "Did you hear anything before the music?" I told him everything about the screaming, the banging, and the breaking glass. He nodded, took notes, asked if I'd be willing to provide my recordings. Yes, I said immediately. I've been waiting for someone to finally take this seriously. He took my email, said someone would follow up. Then he left. That night, no music played. But I couldn't sleep. I stared at the wall. I kept thinking about that scream, that crash, the silence that followed. The next morning, I opened my door and saw the hallway still taped off. Their apartment door was open. I couldn't see inside, but I could smell something chemical, maybe bleach. For the first time, I started to feel something new. Fear. 2 days later, someone from the police actually called me back. Detective Ramirez. Calm voice, polite but serious. He asked to come by. I said yes. When he showed up, I gave him my recordings, my logs, everything. He thanked me. Then he asked me something I wasn't expecting. "Have you ever seen a man named Darren Trussell come in or out of that apartment?" "No," I said. "Just the two people. The guy and the woman. I think their names are Jake and Lisa." The detective flipped through a small notepad. "We're aware of them. They were already under observation." "Observation?" He paused, looked at me, then said, "Off the record? We've been watching this place for weeks. We had reason to believe they were dealing. What we didn't expect was," he stopped himself. "Let's just say this thing is bigger than a noise complaint." He didn't say more, but I could feel it in the room. Whatever was going on next door wasn't just drugs or parties. It was worse. That night, someone knocked on my door again. Not the police this time. A woman. Mid-30s. Pale, nervous. She didn't say her name, but I could tell she was scared. "Did you call the cops?" she asked, voice low. "Yeah. I live next door. The music, they're not just dealers," she cut in. "There's a guy who comes by sometimes. Bald. Real quiet. Carries a briefcase. They don't party when he's there. It's always quiet. Like, too quiet." I asked how she knew all this. She lived in the unit below them. Heard everything. "They don't care if we hear. I think they want us to. But that guy? When he's around, they close the windows. Shut the blinds. It's not normal." Then she left quick. Like she'd regret even talking to me. I locked my door after that. Double-locked it. Something was happening here, and I wasn't ready for what came next. A week went by. No music. No noise. No lights from their apartment. It was like they vanished. Then, one morning, a white van pulled up. 2 men in unmarked uniforms started carrying things out of their unit, chairs, a mattress, boxes. I asked one of them what was going on. "Eviction," he grunted. "Eviction? Just like that?" They were being kicked out, but not a word from the office. No note. No explanation. I checked the apartment complex app, nothing listed. No incident report. No community email. It was like they'd been erased. That night, I got a knock on my door again. Not the police. Not a neighbor. A letter. Just slid under my door. No envelope. No handwriting. Just one line, "You talk too much." I stared at it for a long time. Then I picked up my phone, locked every door and window, and called Detective Ramirez. He answered. "I think we need to talk again," I said. "After I got that note. You talk too much." I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch with the lights off, phone in hand, watching the hallway through the peephole like some kind of amateur spy. I thought about everything. The noise, the screaming, the night the cops kicked the door in, the woman who warned me, and now this silent threat. Something felt off, like I'd poked something I shouldn't have. The next morning, Detective Ramirez called me back. "I need to meet," I said, voice shaky. Someone left a message under my door. It's a threat. He didn't even hesitate. I'll be there in an hour. When he arrived, I handed him the note in a plastic sandwich bag. He studied it, frowning. We'll get this dusted, but don't hold your breath. If they used gloves, it won't matter. Then I asked him straight, what's really going on next door? Why won't anyone in this building talk? Why does it feel like I'm the only one doing anything? He looked at me carefully, then shut his notebook. All right, you want the truth. I nodded. They weren't just drug dealers. They were being watched for trafficking people, not just drugs. And we think the guy with the briefcase? He's not just some supplier. He's connected to a network we've been trying to build a case against for over a year. I felt my stomach twist. You think they left that note? He didn't answer right away. Probably not. But someone connected to them. Someone knows you've been talking to us. Which means you're on their radar. He told me they were trying to flip one of the tenants who was cooperating quietly. They didn't want to blow the operation. But now, with arrests made, property seized, and people scattered, they suspected some dangerous loose ends were still out there. And someone didn't like that I had gotten involved. That same night, I heard movement from the vacant apartment next door. I thought maybe it was workers or staff cleaning it up. But no, the lights were off. No vans. No voices. Just slow, quiet footsteps. Pacing. Back and forth. At 1:58 a.m., the sound stopped. 2 minutes before the usual party hour. That creepy timing again. Then a faint knock. But not on my door. It was on the shared wall between our units. 3 slow knocks. Then silence. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I didn't sleep. I kept the lights on all night. And in the morning, I told Ramirez everything. He sighed. That apartment should be empty. We'll check it again. A few days passed. Quiet. Too quiet. Like the calm before something worse. Then the twist came. I was at work. Exhausted. Just trying to get through emails when I got a call from a blocked number. I normally don't answer, but I picked up. A deep voice said, "Stop talking to the cops. You don't know what you're doing." Then it hung up. My hands were shaking. I walked straight out of the office and drove to the police station. They traced the call, burner phone. No help. That's when Ramirez made a decision. We're going to move you. Temporarily. You'll stay at a safe location. We can't risk them trying something. I didn't even argue. They moved me that night. A marked car. No lights. I left most of my stuff behind. Just a go bag, some clothes, my laptop, and the folder of recordings and logs I had kept. Here's the thing though, while I was gone, something else happened. 3 nights after I left, someone broke into my apartment. They didn't steal anything. Nothing was missing. But my couch cushions were flipped. My drawers opened. The folder I kept with the recordings? Gone. I hadn't taken it with me. I only had digital copies on my laptop. Whoever broke in knew exactly what to look for. And they didn't take a TV or laptop or money. They just took the evidence. I told Ramirez. He had the same reaction I did. This wasn't a robbery. This was cleanup. They're trying to erase everything, he said. And they think you're done now. But I wasn't. Because what they didn't know was this. I had backed up everything to a cloud drive. Every log. Every decibel reading. Every 2 a.m. scream. Every police visit. All of it. And I wasn't letting this go. Not after what they'd done. Then, just as I thought things were cooling off, I got a message on the encrypted line Ramirez had given me. He's back. Briefcase guy. Spotted him last night. Turns out one of the neighbors, the quiet woman downstairs, was still watching. And she saw the bald man return. Not to the old unit. To a different one. In the next building over. This wasn't over. They had just moved next door. Again. When I heard Briefcase guy was back, I knew I couldn't keep hiding. These people weren't done. They didn't just want silence, they wanted control. They thought fear would erase everything. But they made one mistake, they underestimated me. I met with Detective Ramirez again. This is bigger than we thought. I told him. They're back. Just one building over. He rubbed his eyes, tired. We can't just storm in again. We need more. Something solid. I nodded. Then I'll get it. Was it stupid? Maybe. But I couldn't let this go. They broke my peace. My home. My trust in people. So I started watching. I parked my car down the block and walked by the building late at night. Casual. Hoodie up. Phone in my pocket, camera rolling. And guess what? They weren't even trying to hide anymore. Same music. Same 2 a.m. start. But this time quieter. Barely over the edge. Just enough to annoy. Just enough to signal they were still in control. I saw the bald guy. Same briefcase. Same emotionless face. In and out in under 10 minutes. What the hell could be happening that fast? I asked Ramirez to check the other tenants. He called me 2 days later. You're not going to like this, he said. That unit? It's listed under your name. What? You never signed anything, right? No. Then someone forged it. They used your info, probably from your old lease application. That's why the management isn't raising flags. On paper, it looks like you moved across the lot. My heart dropped. These people were tying me into their game. If anything went down in that unit, it would trace back to me. I snapped. The next night I went back. Not to record. Not to sneak. I knocked. Hard. The door opened. It was Jake. The smug bastard from the original apartment. He looked surprised, then amused. Well, look who it is. I stepped closer. You forged my name. He shrugged. Prove it. Then that smirk. Maybe move if you can't handle it. Same line. Same stupid grin. I lost it. I shoved him back and stormed inside. Call the cops if you want, I said. We'll settle this now. But when I got inside, it wasn't what I expected. No drugs on the table. No stacks of cash. Just cameras. Microphones. Hidden in corners. Fake smoke detectors. A laptop open with a live feed to my old apartment. They had been watching me. Everything. Ramirez was right. This wasn't just a noise complaint. This was surveillance. Blackmail. Setup. Jake lunged at me. Tried to grab my phone. We struggled. I punched him in the face. He slammed me into the wall. That's when Ramirez and 2 other detectives burst in. Guns drawn. Hands where I can see them. They had followed me, waiting for me to get proof. They saw everything. They arrested Jake. Confiscated everything. The cameras. The hard drives. The briefcase. Even the fake lease documents. But it didn't end there. Because while Jake was in cuffs, he turned and said, "You think this ends with me? We were just following orders." I wanted to punch him again. But I didn't. Weeks passed. The investigation spread. Turns out Jake and Lisa weren't the heads. They were just runners setting up fake tenants across town, staging small disturbances to cover bigger operations. Illegal surveillance networks targeting people with clean credit, steady jobs, and no priors. People like me. Why? Because if anything got traced, the records would point to us. Turns out, a few neighbors had already been set up. Some even had warrants filed under their names. And they had no idea. I was lucky, but I wasn't clean. Because here's the truth. I made a mistake too. I didn't protect my info. I trusted the apartment complex. I waited too long to act. I thought being polite would fix everything. And when I finally acted, it wasn't because I wanted justice. It was because I wanted revenge. I let anger push me into danger. I walked straight into a trap out of spite. If Ramirez hadn't followed me that night, I might have disappeared. Just like one of the missing tenants we later found out never really moved out. So yeah, the music stopped. The walls are silent. But now I flinch every time I hear bass through a wall. I don't sleep through the night anymore. And sometimes I still get blocked calls. And every time my phone rings at 2 a.m., I wonder, did we get them all? Or is the real guy, briefcase guy, still out there? Watching. Waiting. I kept every file backed up. Just in case. Because now, I don't trust silence.